when you get on a bus, it's quite easy, isn't it? You just literally walk on. But obviously, if you need a wheelchair, then basically you use one of these, which is a ramp, and you get on the bus and you use the wheelchair space. Now, there's an article in the paper this week. Basically, it says on it, wheelchairs must come first on buses. And it says, but do you expect to put babies out in the cold? Now, this is quite an interesting article, actually. Basically, very interesting, because obviously, who has priority, wheelchair or prams? Well, as far as I'm concerned, I know it's always been the wheelchair, but a lot of people have wrote in and said, you know, obviously it says judges are to decide whether disabled passengers should have preference over parents with pushchairs when using wheelchair spaces on buses. And then it says, obviously, we must be willing to give disabled people first preference and be grateful that their fight for access is by default our gain. Anyway, a lot of people have put in that, you know, buggies are foldable, you know, that really people should put the prams away or make way for wheelchairs. It's just common decency, you know. Just a lot of things, really. Quite a few articles here that say, a lot of people have wrote in. They say that more space should be provided on buses for pushchairs and the disabled, which is true, you know. But wheelchairs should have priority. It says here, perhaps we should be like Italy, where they have only a few seats for passengers who are elderly and infirm, leaving more room for wheelchairs and buggies. And that's right, you know. People have put, obviously, when my children were small, we used to fold up the pushchairs, obviously, to get onto public transport. Because obviously back then buses had steps on them. I mean, 15 years ago, when I started driving, I remember buses had steps. Most of them had steps. They didn't have any low floor. But obviously things have changed now, and it's great that people in wheelchairs can get on buses and use this space. But I think the solution is what I'm sitting on, which is these two seats here. So if you're any bus designers out there, please in the future can you remove these two seats so that you can see there's a lot more space for the wheelchair and for a pram. So as you can see right here, obviously the priority is the wheelchair area, but obviously it would be nice to get one buggy on as well, you know. So I think what's best is if those two seats basically can be moved, and just to allow more space for buggies, and that way you can get 3 buggies on there, or you can get 1 wheelchair and a buggy. So that is my solution to this problem, which is in the paper, is to basically sort it out, and that's about it. So let's hope they can sort it out and we can have a wheelchair and a pram in the same area. We won't have all this fighting that you see on buses all the time. So please sort it out, get them seats out of the way, and let's have a larger area on buses around the UK. Have a good evening, everyone.